Hi, I'm Jeffrey.
And I'm Ed, and we're the Bitcoin coaches. This video is a very basic overview of what Bitcoin is. But before we talk about that, we just want to mention why Bitcoin was created in the first place. Bitcoin was created to improve upon the shortcomings of our current financial system.
As advancements are made in technology, there will always be opportunities to improve the way things are done. Bitcoin is an emerging and profound technology, and why it is here has sparked this evolution in the financial industry.
After watching this video about what Bitcoin is, we highly recommend watching our Why Bitcoin video. The link will be below. In this video, we talk about why the technology will be so important in the future. But for now, let's get back to what is Bitcoin. So short and simple, Bitcoin is digital money. Its purpose is to send money from person A to person B without the use of a third party like a bank. All legitimate transactions are tracked on a distributed ledger, aka the blockchain. The blockchain is people all over the world using computers to track and confirm legitimate transactions. And its software is open source, which basically just means that any programmer can suggest how to make updates to the code.
And that's a 5-sentence, way too simple version of explaining what Bitcoin is. But if this is the first time seeing anything about Bitcoin, that may seem a little confusing, so we'll try to break it down more simply. Bitcoin is for the people, by the people. And what we mean by that is that anyone can send or receive Bitcoin with no bank or third party needed. And third parties include something like a company profiting off that transaction. Traditionally, we do have these options available to us, but again, we're paying banks or we're paying companies to facilitate these transactions. And that's why Bitcoin is for the people, by the people.
So how does a transaction work? Well, let's say I have a Bitcoin. I would keep that Bitcoin in a digital wallet. Just like a physical wallet you have in your pocket, a digital wallet securely stores all your Bitcoin. So if I want to send a Bitcoin, or part of a Bitcoin, it's very, very easy. To send Bitcoin, all you need is a recipient's Bitcoin address. Each digital wallet has a long string of characters called a Bitcoin address to identify it. All I have to do is type in this long string of characters and how much Bitcoin I want to send, and that's it. The stick figure would get some Bitcoin.
So how do we keep track of this? In our traditional systems, we trust a bank to get it right, which is fine because private companies would never screw over the common man. I mean, that's a bad example. That's a private company. Banks would never do anything that would hurt the individual consumer. Anyway, with Bitcoin, there is no bank. So how do we keep track of the transactions? This is where we use the blockchain. You've probably heard that term once or twice before. What is the blockchain? So the blockchain is the underlying technology upon which Bitcoin is based. All it is a secure ledger system. And a ledger is a record that keeps track of all of the transactions. The blockchain, or in this case, Bitcoin's ledger, is an online, real-time public document that keeps track of every single transaction and account balance.
At any given moment, we can look up online and see where the Bitcoin is. We can see here that Alice is 5.3 Bitcoin, and we can see when and where it was sent from. But we're not really looking at the names. What we're really looking at is the addresses.
How many times have you received a text message or an email from your bank confirming a transaction? Now, most of the time these are legitimate and the bank is just being overly cautious, but sometimes they aren't legitimate and someone is trying to steal someone else's money.
The blockchain would prevent this by using cryptography to protect each transaction and by distributing the ledger. So what is cryptography? Cryptography is a complex puzzle that requires a key to easily solve it. Only legitimate transactions will have the correct key, and without that key, you're flying blind. Even with a supercomputer, it would take you hundreds of years to solve this puzzle without the key. Since the blockchain utilizes this technology, the network is secure and almost completely tamper-proof.
The distributed ledger, or decentralization, is the second way blockchain prevents fraud. In a centralized network, there would be a central authority that facilitates transactions like banks and financial transactions, or PayPal in the PayPal network. Bitcoin doesn't have a central authority. It's run through computers referred to as nodes on the blockchain. It uses a network like this, a distributed one, which is essentially a whole bunch of computers in different places that are connected to help maintain that public ledger. So if one of those computers goes down, the network continues to move forward. That's why we like to call the blockchain the cloud 2.0. But everyone always has that question of what is the cloud? So I always like to say that the cloud is kind of like a server farm in Idaho. Okay, it's not quite like that. Here's an example of a server farm. This is Facebook's, for instance, and each one of these servers are running a part of their business. But if that server goes down, that part of the business may go down, or they may be unable to access it. And if a bank has a server farm like this, if that server farm goes down, that bank is in trouble. So we say the blockchain is like the cloud 2.0 because it uses the distributed network. Again, here is a centralized network, and if that computer, server, if that point goes down, this whole network is in trouble. If it's a distributed network, if one of the computers goes down, the network can move forward. So, in a distributed network, who runs these computers, which are also referred to as nodes?
So with Bitcoin, miners run these nodes. Not that type of miner. Someone like this. A miner is a person using a computer to confirm Bitcoin transactions. They devote their computer to help strengthen the network, and they are compensated with newly created Bitcoin every time a group of transactions called a block is confirmed. That's where blockchain comes from. This is how new Bitcoin are created. Currently, there's over 16 million in circulation, and there will only ever be 21 million created.
That's approximately by the year 2140. And after the miner confirms the correct transaction, and a majority of the nodes agree that it is correct, the Bitcoin is transferred from person A to person B, and the transaction is added to the blockchain permanently. Earlier on, we mentioned that Bitcoin's software is open source. So what does open source mean?
Open source means that the code can be updated by anyone at any time. People who know how to code, called developers, can make upgrades to the Bitcoin network. So if any issues arise with the software, they can be fixed. Anyone in the network can check for errors in malicious code, making Bitcoin's operation transparent and secure. Once an update is made to the code, if the majority of the network agrees with the changes, the miners will run the updated software. And with that, we've pretty much talked about everything that there is on a very basic level. So let's bring it all together.
5 quick points, just like in the beginning. Bitcoin is digital money. Its purpose is to be able to send money from person A to person B without the use of a third party like a bank. All of these transactions are kept track on the distributed ledger, aka the blockchain. The blockchain is just a whole bunch of computers all over the world keeping track of this in a connected network to confirm legitimate transactions. The people running these computers, or nodes, are called miners, and the confirmation process creates new Bitcoin to incentivize the network's survival. Programmers can make changes and updates to the code if necessary to make sure the network is always efficient, secure, and properly functioning.
And that's what is Bitcoin. Thank you for watching. We're the Bitcoin Coaches. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.
Also, please check out our Why Bitcoin video. Learning what Bitcoin is incredibly important, but why Bitcoin is here, we really get in depth into why Bitcoin is here. So please check it out and have a great rest of your day.